Hello, and what we're going to do is today look at how to create this little thing here, which is a timed exam, a timed release, so that students can get an exam on a particular day. It might be 2 weeks from now, but you've set it up today. I've got the 18th of May here for an alternative education exam. They have a week in which to do this. You can set any timings you like, but what it means is you can do this well in advance and then just leave this, and then Moodle does the rest. Directly underneath it we've got where they upload the exam, so the two things are quite close to each other, as close as it's possible to be. So they get the exam from here. This will become live and they will see it, and then here they'll be they can upload it to turn it in. Okay, so where we are now, I've come back over to this working online and collective approach, and we're going to set up an exam. I'm going to set it up in our exam guidance thing here. So this will be your own obvious Moodle page, and what we want to do is add an activity or resource, and the first thing we need to do is click file, because that is where we are going to put the one and only document, and we're going to put a trial exam because that is what this is. An exam we will never do. And so you will put something more in there that might include some guidance to the students about how long and submission, just a reminder. What we want to do then is get the file that we're adding. I've saved the one that came from Quality, which is the template front cover. So that would be the exam. So I've added that in here. So we've got the two things now. We've got a title and we've got a description. And then the third thing, we've got the file. The next thing we're going to do is come down to this box, which is restrict access. That if you click down, currently it's set on none. We're going to add a restriction. You get these whole lists of things here. What we're going to do is base it completely on date. The other things, very interesting, look at them when you've got time, but now we're going to do date. So students must, you get options must and must not, but they must in this case. So if we want the exam to go out today, so date is from, and it's from the 12th of May, which is today, 2020, and midnight will be the time. But what we will say is we're going to set this for, the time now is 9:45, so let's set this for 9:50. We wouldn't actually do this because what's the point? We may as well just release it ourselves if we sat around, but there we are. So we have now got that this will be released. Now what we want to do is to say, well, they have got until, so the second box directly underneath, they're going to release this at 9:50, or we're going to release it until 9:50, and it's going to be available for them to see all the way through the same day, but we're going to close this at 1600 hours at 4 o'clock. Why not? And so we have that now. We have got those two things going on. Then down at the bottom, we have got save and return to course, which I'm going to click now, and you can see now that the exam is there. Okay, so we're here and we can see this, and this is now after the time of 9:50 that we set it. And what's happened is that the document, what the students will see is that the document goes live. They can now click it, open it, access it. It's important. This doesn't do all bells and whistles. It doesn't go around to the houses of students and tell them that the exam's open. It just releases the exam. So it's important then also by some other means, whether that's email, whether that's from the top page of Moodle, but they know when the exam is. All this will do is restrict access until a particular time, then that access is open. The next thing we want to be able to do is add a Turnitin link for their submission. I think the Turnitin exam submission is not unusual to you, whether it's for an exam, but for an assignment anyway. But I think here it would be good to have the date, time expected, the file, all the rest. So I'm not going to bother with these. You know what bits you want from this. But it's the assignment part. So the start date will be the day and time that it's released. So for us, that started at 9:50 today, because that's when we set that. It's just so that we know that they can submit from that point. They can't do it in 60 seconds, of course. Well, it'd be a terrible exam, but it's possible. That's when it opened. That's when it was possible to start from. The due date is today as well, because what we want them to do is to submit this by 1600 hours today. So even that the exam is open till that time, but also the possibility, in our case, that's when the submission is due. So that will go there. The post date is going to be 3 weeks from the 12th of May. So whenever that will be, I'm not going to be able to work out quickly now. So let's just say we've got until the 10th of June to mark this lovely lot, and that's when it will come in. So we've got the post date. We go down to the bottom, save, return. And there we have the lot now. So we've got, the students can see that they have got a thing that's available, an exam question that's available, or exam questions on a document that opened up automatically at the time we said, and will close at this time. But also we have got the exam upload, and that specifies the time when they are going to submit. An interesting thing about here as well, of course, is that we don't need to set up anything separate to say that students have got extended time. So if somebody has got until 5 p.m. tomorrow, or after the 25% or whatever's been agreed, they will just show up on Turnitin as red because it's gone past the timeline. You can compare that with your own data, so you know who was expected later than not. If you wanted them to be able to access this after that period, you would have to leave that. So if you wanted the exam questions to be visible until 5 p.m. tomorrow, you would alter the before time. Okay. Other than that, that's all you need to do to be able to set up time release on Moodle. Thank you very much.